G'day everyone, welcome back to Griffin. It's only a few minutes since we last left Kevin. He's had a drink, he's been inside to have a chat to Jocelyn. They're definitely mulling over what to do, and in the meantime he's come out to chat to the cows and check on the food situation. So where are we here? So the animals look pretty good. They've actually got plenty of food and water, so this hay bale will top them off if we just put it in the right spot. Might go a bit further forward. That's better. So they should be good for a little while. The situation really boils down to two options, and one goes away overnight. So we've got these two contracts that we've finished all the work for, and 2.5 bales or 2 and a bit bales off field 14 that we can't deliver because the Spinnery has gone into receivership seeking Chapter 11 protection. So that basically means the banks have forced their hand and shut them down while some restructuring occurs. Now, that's kind of a normal business process, but it doesn't help us complete our contract. Now, if we have a look at these contracts, we'll see that, you know, there's $17,000 that's owed to us, really, or thereabouts, because we're done. However, if whilst we could collect on 8 for field 13, we'd get a substantial penalty for field 14 for not delivering, and we still wouldn't be able to sell the cotton. So that's no good. If we kind of have a look at the economics of the situation, so letting it go overnight forces our hand on that, and we take the hit, and we probably end up just losing most of the money that we would have made despite having done all the work. Our other option potentially is to buy the Spinnery. And that's kind of more the businessman's option rather than the farmer's option. And if we have a look, so the Spinnery turns cotton into fabric. And so if we have a look at fabric's currently selling at 5,000 per 1,000 litres, but it gets as high as almost 7,000 in May, and we're in November, so we've got a few months where we could turn this cotton into fabric. We know from our inquiries that it will cost $90,000 to buy. So the only way we could buy it is if we get a larger loan with the bank. Now, what's interesting, of course, is we've got 10,000. We expect to have about 10,000 litres of cotton left over when we finish these contracts. So, if we turn that into fabric, that'll generate about 6,000 litres of fabric. Which, if we were to get 7,000, that would pay half the contract. So, kind of the position that Jocelyn and Kevin have reached is, well, they can see half their way there just with what they have, and surely there'll be a way to generate the other half through their operations. And I think the thing that's swaying them is they didn't come here for an easy kind of out. They came here because they had some unfulfilled business in terms of dreams, and they want to be something significant. And so playing on their mind a bit is this fear that perhaps, you know, there's a bit of a sign, a bit of a test here. You know, if they just let it default in tomorrow, they'll lose on the contract. You know, maybe people will think it's their own fault and they've done things wrong. Whereas the other side of it is, if they're to jump in and help the ailing Spinnery, maybe they can turn that around and be on the road to being something in town. So the concept that they're kind of going for is, well, let's buy the Spinnery. So he's just waiting for a callback, and he's hoping that before it gets too late, he can meet with his bankers over at the Spinnery. Now it turns out, bit of luck, so Kevin banks with Old National in Evansville, just down the road, and it turns out they are the bank that has foreclosed on the Spinnery. So like all in these things, Kevin's banking skills might just come to the fore here, because they're not going to want to lose money. So finding someone that's prepared to step in and turn this around is half the battle in these situations. So what Kevin's hoping is a little bit of a show of force and turning up with, you know, some cotton ready to deposit, a willingness to sign, and the not inconceivable capital that he's got on his farm. It's a, you know, 33% increase in his mortgage that he's looking for, but he's got plenty of equity, you know, over $1 million of equity in his loan. So he's kind of hoping that there's a deal to be done here, and that he can go ahead and sign the papers and then get these cotton bales delivered tonight to allow completion of this contract. So that's his plan. He's on the road, and I guess we're going to find out in a few minutes what the story is. So it's just gone 6 o'clock. When it comes to making money, that's the way to get the bank's attention. So there's the contracting yard. Still got their gates open, so they're probably unloading the trucks that have come back. They've still got a bit of gear to move off our farm, which we presume will happen in the first part of December, as we sort out with them that little issue of the road. But yeah, that's where things are up to. So it's safe to say that Kevin's putting a lot of thought into the finance side, not necessarily a lot of thought into the farming side of what he's proposing here, but one thing at a time. Finishing this contract will certainly, if it's possible, give them the money they need to navigate the winter. So let's wait and see what happens here. Right, well, that's promising. the bank is happy, and you can see how quickly they were able to act. So the bank has agreed to increase our loan by 100,000. The only catch, and isn't it always the case, there is one. The only catch is that our interest rate will go up again from 7% to 8%, which, given that it's only just gone from 6 to 7, is a bit painful, but it's doable, and it's the only way to get this deal done in reality. So we're kind of a bit over a barrel. So our interest rate now is at 8%, but we have the 100,000 that we need, that allows us to now purchase the Spinnery for 90,000. So we're now the proud owners of the Spinnery and all that that entails. So if we come across to our, if we come across to our production, we can see there's no product in the incoming. So hopefully that'll enable us to finish these contracts. We'll turn off the wool processing because there's no wool there. We'll leave the cotton on because in just a minute we'll drop some cotton in the slot. So as we move towards the end of what has been a pretty long day, hopefully that bale will process. Is that bale not? That's kind of interesting. Well, we'll leave that for a moment. I don't know why that is not going in there. It should be fine. Let's go and get the rest of the bales. As you can see, that bale processed while we were off getting the load. So this is, we're at 94% complete, and hopefully this one will finish the contract. So let's hit the correct unload button and see how we go. $98, $99, $100. So 2 contracts complete. We've still got that partial bale in the field, which I'll go and get before I collect them. But if we have a look at our Spinnery now, there's 5,000 litres of cotton, and that other bale in the field is also about 5,000 litres. So we will indeed end up with a little bit of fabric that can go towards paying down the debt we've taken on here. So it's been a long, stressful day, but things are, let's not have a car accident at the exit to our new production. And things are looking up. So 2 completed contracts that we can complete in a minute, and we just need to pick up that last partial bale and get it across into the Spinnery, and we can go home for a well-deserved rest and some sleep. So good news, we've ended up with about, we're just on 10,160 of cotton in the spinnery. I've just brought the equipment back to the field and I'll just park it up to the side so I can pick up my ute and we can leave this for the farmer. And we can collect on those contracts. So let's do that before we do anything else. So yeah, we were just over 10,000 and that'll process along quite nicely now. So let's go to our contracts. We've got 2 completed. So we can collect on field 13 and collect on field 14. And I don't think we'll worry about anything else for the moment. It's late in the day. We might head back and grab some sleep and see what the new day brings. Well, here we are, bright and early, 7 o'clock in the morning. Our overnight interest is now up to 1,160, and we add that to about 5,500 for our vehicle leasing. As you can see, we're up before the dawn. So we just need to have a think about what we're going to get done for the day. We've certainly got some baling to do. We need to go and check actually how the little tractor got on with the tedding over here. Because we've got some hay bales. It looks like our wheat crop is coming up, and you recall we hired or leased the soil sampling device. So now I wonder, it looks like the tedding's well advanced. Maybe it finished. I didn't really, we were so caught up with the spinnery, I didn't check in with our worker yesterday, so I'm not sure where he or she got to tedding this field. Looks like there's a tractor over here somewhere in the dark. This row doesn't look finished. There's a couple that aren't, but by and large not too bad. So why don't we just finish those couple off, because then we could put the soil sampler on the front here and sample that wheat field before the wheat gets up too high. And with any luck, by the time we've just finished these couple of rows here, I think it looks like there's only 2 or 3 left to do. We'll be in daylight. That turned out to be quite exciting yesterday, sorting out the spinnery and those contracts, and hopefully that'll, well, we know we're going to make enough fabric to cover about half the cost, so we've just got to figure out how to turn the spinnery into a longer term success. Clearly it struggles in this area because That's what did it in the first place. But we've got all of that ahead of us. In the meantime, we've got much hay here for our sheep. We've got a little bit of money in the bank, and I'm keen to see us continue to expand our cattle operation. And we didn't put any calves in November because of the cash, so it looks like that job's done. Another row. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe there's actually a few rows to do over here. In this short section. There we go, a bit more light on the scene will help. There is. There's just a bunch of short rows to do here by the looks. So we'll get these sorted out. And then go and get our soil sampling device up and working on that wheat field. The other thing we need to do while we've got some money in the bank is get our cornfield mulched, which means we need to pick up a mulcher. I wonder if we can afford to purchase one. We'll probably check the sales and see what's on offer. But it might be December, but there's still plenty of work to do on our farm, so let's enjoy the morning light here. There's our last one, and I have to say, even though it's pretty brisk, it's a glorious way to start your day. Just out here in the fresh air, getting a little bit of work done. So we'll head on back over. We must come and get that mower afterwards. I think we're going to have quite a bit of hay here once we've baled it all up. Just enough room at the edge of fields. Where did we leave that? Certainly glad it's not snowing at the moment. Can we get in there? Let's move the other tractor. We can put you around in a shed for the minute. Hopefully we'll hear from the contractors soon about when we can start to use that new silo. So the easiest way to do this is to unfold it. And use our mini map there, which should enable us to drive onto the field. Something like so, and we just want to do the smallest number of green circles we can to cover the field. So B is the key for sampling on the PC keyboard. And if we drive up the side here, we can see the area we've taken the sample from. So if we go to about here and do another one and just complete this pattern until we've collected samples from the whole field. Of course, you could just pay the agronomist to do it. The tricky part though is in non-defined fields is you only get bits of the area. So this way we can collect all the samples and then send it off to the lab for the testing results. They come back pretty quick. We're going to have a kind of a funny area to do here. Main thing is to find out what soil type we've got. I'm not sure. And what the current fertilization and lime levels. We didn't lime this field before we planted it, so I'm expecting them to be fairly ordinary. But as you can see, it's not a particularly strenuous process, and you only have to redo it every few years. So if we had lots of fields, it might be worth owning one of these units, but I think a short-term lease is a good way to go. Oops, let's turn the correct way. We're going to have a bit we miss however we do it. Just got to keep in mind, any bits you miss, you won't be able to automatically fertilise or lime. I think each sample is $100 to process, so as was quite appropriately pointed out, I think in one of the comments when I released this, I didn't take the costs of processing these soil tests into account when I looked at the cost difference, and it probably, by the number of that we end up with, it'll probably turn out to be a bit of a wash. I'm going to leave those two. So let's just see if we'd tried to purchase that, it would have been 3,500. But if we now, I can't remember the key to send Y is to send our samples off for analysis. So we'll do that. So they've gone. And I think we have already done, yes, we've already done, we bought the soil samples from this field. So there we go. We know what we've got. So the pH isn't horrible. It could have done with some lime. We'll lime the cornfield before we re-sow it. But there's a couple of spots that are okay. But unsurprisingly, it's quite low on fertiliser, which we will take care of in due course. We've got the spreader there with some fertiliser in it. So that's all we need to do for now. I'm going to keep the grass fields, the other meadow as a grass field. So we'll fold this up and run it back to the shop and see if we can pick ourselves up a mulcher. I just dropped off the soil sampler, so we'll return that one. And now I did realise it didn't come up with the costs, but if we go into our financial menu here, we can see that the only money we've spent today was the 1,500 to get those 15 soil samples processed. And so by the time you add that to the leasing cost, it was just cheaper. And if we'd had more work to do, I think the advantage would have been quite a bit larger. So let's have a look in here at, what are we looking for? Mulches. So we can mulch that cornfield. Is there anything on sale? There is nothing helpful on sale. We don't mulch those. Bale shredder, so Come. So what have we got? The nose. 5.6 meters, 11 miles per hour, 130 horsepower, 150 horsepower. 5.8. Nine. It's hard to go past the Katrina with the extra width, really. So I think we'll take that one. Now the question is, do we lease or buy? I think we're going to have it for the longer term. So, and we've got some money at the minute, so I think we'll buy this one. As we collect fields, it will get regular use. We should be able to tow it with this tractor. I don't think we'd be able to operate it with this tractor. Well, I certainly wouldn't. That would be way too heavy. Looks even a little bit bizarre trying to move it. So I'll see you back up at the farm. We just put this away for the minute. I don't think we'll do the mulching today. Looking at the weather forecast, it's right about freezing. You might have wondered why Kevin's running around in a t-shirt, as he's quick to point out to anyone that asks that until it actually drops below zero, it's not even starting to get chilly for a fellow spent most of his life in Minneapolis. So it's just a sunny day at present, but there is snow on the way. So one of the things which really constitutes an experiment, I'm not sure whether it how it will go, is to see if using the same course we used for course we used for the tedding and the mowing, whether we can successfully put this baler on, and even though it's not a continuous baler, will it bale that field? So we're going to run that as a little experiment, and we're going to learn what happens as we go. I have no idea. So we'll head down to the start of the course. We'll turn our little course play menu on. We've still got the course loaded, so it's east single mower. We shouldn't need an offset because for the most part it should be in the center. We'll start at the first waypoint, which will be up here somewhere. Let's make sure that the pickup is down, the baler is on. Start you off there. And see what happens. So far, so good. what's the really acid test is when it gets to the bale, will she just keep steaming on, or will she wait and drop? She waits and drops. Fantastic. Does leave a little small mound, but I can live with that. So we'll let her proceed with baling that field, which will be fantastic. I think we'll get a bunch of bales sorted over there, hopefully before the snow comes. And meanwhile, we'll grab the ute and the animal trailer and head down and purchase some cows. We might get 2 lots of cows, given we missed one last month. 2 lots of calves, rather. I also want to check, just before I go, we've got a silo full of corn there, 100,000 litres, you might recall, and top price next month. So the grain elevator is selling. No, Mount Vernon will be our buy point. So we'll wait a little for that. We need to, when we sell that corn, do something about sheds, I think. If yard needs a little bit more organisation now that we've got that big dryer in and we're starting to collect some equipment. Oh, it would help if I took the trailer, wouldn't it? How many times have you done that? Get distracted by something else, jump in the ute and get halfway down the street before you realise you needed to bring transport. How many of you were shouting at the screen? Look on at the other end. I must pick this hay up too. This time I'll see you down at Larson's. Here we are down at the dealership. Let's have a look here. So get some more Angus calves. We can take 6, so we'll have those. Thank you very much. Take them back to our pen. It was interesting in Larson's. I won't say I'm well known, but I'm becoming a little bit better recognised, and it was a kind of a different reception. I think the fence is still up on the other side. Yes, it is. It was kind of a different reception. Having words clearly got around that we've bought the Spinnery, and people are a little bit uncertain on how to take that. I think there's kind of equal parts. I think. Let's get our cows out first. So we've got 24, so we'll go and get another load of those. Yeah, equal parts. Thankful because we've preserved a handful of jobs in town, and you know, they'd like to be kind of optimistic about the contribution to the local economy, but then on the other hand, There's a bunch of folks who think that Kevin has no idea what he's doing and is pretty much a raving lunatic with more money than sense. So that always makes for an interesting reception. So we'll see. I notice our lady bailing there has just finished her first lap. So, you know, it's coming up now for 3 in the afternoon, and we're probably getting close to the end of this episode, I think. Given late night last night with all of the goings on with the Spinnery, you know, we are coming up to the Christmas season. Snow is expected shortly, so I don't know if it will settle or not. We'll have to wait and see what the new day and the second half of December brings, but it's nonetheless on the way. But all in all, I think we're in good shape. So far, so good. We're hardly got an empire going, but we have got an operation with prospects. So I think that's promising. We'll get some more Angus. I don't intend to mix the breeds just at the minute. At some point, not too far down the track, it'd be nice to put a pen in the East Meadow somewhere, and we might start a Limousin herd in that one, but we'll keep our Angus in here. We've probably got just about enough in this pen so that natural breeding over the coming year will fill it up. I haven't paid any particular attention to the prices, so I don't know how our first few months have gone. I would expect they've increased in price, but not dramatically so. Take out that stop sign. Somewhere around here is a trigger. There we go. So if we have a look, we've got 30 head now, so a fledgling operation at best, but it's on its way. Up at around 1900, almost 2000 for the oldest. And then, well, they haven't started to reproduce yet, so we'll just monitor those. And here comes the snow. So that's a bit of a sign. So with snow starting to fall, and our silo in but not quite complete, we might take that as a perfect opportunity to say thanks for watching and hope you're enjoying it, and we'll see you next time. See ya.